more does not equal better, and we don't always have to fill our time with all of these things. If you've got something on your list because you feel like that's a good idea, great. But do you actually need to do it? Often it's not your principal that's asking you, or it's not your grade partner that's asking you. It's you yourself that's put that on the list because you think it's a really good idea. And yeah, it might be a really good idea, but not everything can be put into action because you're only one person, and that's a sure way to lead yourself to burnout.
Yes, 100%. So my trick is...
Welcome to Rainbow Skies for Teachers, the go-to show dedicated to teachers who want to make a big difference in education. Whether you're in your first few years or well into your teaching career, we are here to inspire, support, and empower you with bite-sized tips, simple strategies, and the motivation to lead an education revolution, one classroom at a time.
We're Ashley and Alicia from Rainbow Sky Creations, two Aussie teachers who love all things teaching and learning. We are here to help you thrive as you work toward making an impact in your students' lives while loving your life as a teacher.
We are here to help you bring joy, simplicity, and creativity into your classroom on the daily, because
there are rainbows ahead, my friend, and together we're unstoppable.
Let's get into today's episode.
Rainbow Sky Creations acknowledge the traditional owners of the land that we record this podcast on, the Darrell and Woodjuk Noongar people. We pay our respects to their elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures.
Welcome to Rainbow Skies for Teachers. I'm so glad you stopped by. I'm Alicia.
And I am Ashley, and this is going to be an awesome episode.
It is going to be an awesome episode. Think of glitter, lights, action, and just having a great cheer squad behind you.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to put it. So we're going to be talking about teacher overwhelm, but we're going to be talking about it within the lens of teaching doesn't have to be a one-woman show. Now, we're not discounting all of the men out there. I'm sure we've got a few male listeners, and you are also included in this discussion.
That's right. It's inclusive right here.
Yeah. We're just calling it a one-woman show because,
just rolls off the tongue a bit easier.
It does. So teaching shouldn't feel like a one-woman show. However, sometimes it truly, truly does.
Yes. Like you're the one who's doing the performing. You're the roadie. You're the manager. You're the crew. You're the cleanup people. It's a hard slog sometimes, but it doesn't have to be that way.
No, it doesn't. And you know what? We need to get out of that mindset, and that I suppose it's one of those, it's almost like a routine where we do tend to start doing everything, and then we're just on this treadmill. And in Australia, we work in 4 terms. And I always felt like, you think, at the beginning, I'm going to get better. I'm going to do it better this term. And then by the time you get to the very end, you're just like, you're puffed. You've run out of absolute steam.
Yes. And you had heard that person say, look, I will give you a hand. Like, just let me know. And then you get to that week 10, the last day, and you're like, I should have asked for that help.
Yeah.
As my mother would say, she's like, stop being a martyr, Alicia. Like, just ask for help. We're here. We can support you. And that's what we need to do a bit more.
So we're here to remind what we need to do. If Taylor Swift's not a martyr, she has help. Beyonce has help, so you can get help too.
Absolutely. Let's make a stand today and start making a difference and bringing our girl squad together.
Yes, to help us avoid that burnout, because we know you did not become a teacher to be burnt out.
No. So we want you to protect your energy and fall back in love with teaching, or just love teaching like you loved it that first time you got that degree and went, oh my gosh, I'm qualified to teach.
Yes. All right. So we've got 5 strategies, and we're going to talk about it in the lens of being a one-woman show. Your first strategy is to build your, in inverted commas, glam squad. So the team behind the scenes is basically what we mean by this one.
Yes. So sometimes you might be going, oh, well, what would my glam squad look like? So think of ready-made teacher resources, or if your school has subscriptions to really good platforms, use them. Like I would be using Spelling Waves. I'd be using the Reading Eggs. I'd be using the Mathletics. Oh my God, I love Mathletics. So use the tools that are accessible to you. It is not cheating by using them. Okay. I think sometimes people think, oh, I should be able to think of this myself or make it myself. No, somebody did the hard work for you. Go get that high quality resource and use it.
Yeah, I mean, these days I would way rather spend $3 on a resource that I could use and save me so much time in creating it than spending all weekend trying to create just a bad version of it.
Yeah, newsflash, Ashley and I, we create resources, but we still go and buy things for our kids because we
Yes.
know we can't do it that good. And we go, I'm so going to buy that for, like, my daughter at the moment is learning all those CBC words. And I'm like, I know we've got some stuff, but this creator has some really amazing things that I'm going to go utilize as well. So we would do exactly the same.
Yeah. You know what else you could add to your glam squad? AI tools to streamline your tasks. There's a lot of
Yes.
AI tools out there that you can use. We love ChatGPT, but you could use whatever, floats your boat, whatever one you like. Your school might even have some sort of AI subscription that you can use to help you with some of those tasks that take time. Think about replying to an email where you've got to think of exactly the right words. AI could help you with that. Think about a task that you've got the lesson in your mind and you're thinking, no, I've got 3 kids that are lower than this, but I don't really know what I can do with them. Type it into AI and get AI to help you think of a way that you can differentiate that lesson. There's
Yes.
loads of different things you can do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, it is something new. Don't be afraid of it because unfortunately it's not going to go anywhere. So it's kind of something you should try and embrace and see how you can make it work for you at the level that you're ready to. And my last thing is there are many, many companies out there who really value educators and they give away free subscriptions or free access to tools. So if you've got a Canva, they love educators. They will give you
Yes.
access to it for free. Oh my gosh. Think of those beautiful teacher slides that you can use on repeat. I used to use still do, the Calm app, and it has beautiful stories or meditations that you can use with your class. And oh my gosh, you can use for yourself. So there are lots of different companies out there who are giving away free access for things for teachers that can be part of your Glam Squad.
Yeah.
Back you up.
Even Khan Academy, KHAN, they've got some really great explicit teaching videos that you can use. Just another way of explaining things. I actually got to see him in real life at EduTech. I got to see him
Oh,
talk,
that would have been
and it
amazing.
was amazing. Yeah.
Inspiring. And that's the other thing. Find those trusted teacher voice that just lift you up and inspire you and make you want to just think of things a bit differently or try something new and bring that love of teaching. If we hang around those Debbie Downers too long, and there are a few of them could be floating around your school, it can kind of dim your flame. And we don't want that to be your narrative. So find those people that spark the light and love of learning in you.
Yeah. All right. Number 2, stop performing for the to-do list.
But what if I like to write down the things I've already done and then scratch them off my to-do list?
I'm guilty of that, I'll be honest.
I feel so productive. But yeah, look, we've all been there and we're not going to shame you for doing such things because we do it. But before adding something to your to-do list, ask yourself some questions. And what are they, Ash?
Well, firstly, is it essential to the learning of the students in your class? Am I doing this for my students or for appearances? And if you do find that you are doing it for appearances, that's okay. Like, we've all been there, but it just means that maybe you don't have to put it on your to-do list if you don't want to. And what would happen if I just didn't? If I just didn't do this?
I feel like that's such a liberating question that it's like, I used to say to myself, and my husband also being in education would be like, what's the worst that could happen? Honestly, what is the worst that could happen? And usually we've catastrophized in that head, like as if they're going to fire you over a small thing you haven't done.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at your to-do list, maybe just pick 3 things you want to get done that day and be like, those 3 things are a priority. If I accomplish that, I am awesome. Well done, me. And if one of those 3 things you don't get done, just put it on for the next day. It is retraining your brain. It really is. Like, this is not something you're going to miraculously have sorted within a week. It will be constant practice of not letting that to-do list run the show for you.
Yeah. Oh boy, does it run the show sometimes. I think too, we've got to remember, and sometimes it's helpful to be told that often these things are on our to-do list and it's self-imposed. We think as teachers, and Alicia and I, oh my gosh, we've had to get out of this habit. And we were just talking to some other women actually in business a couple of weeks ago. And we were saying that as teachers, we just always thought the more we do, more equals better. And that is not true. More does not equal better. And we don't always have to fill our time with all of these things. If you've got something on your list because you feel like that's a good idea, great. But do you actually need to do it? Often it's not your principal that's asking you, or it's not your grade partner that's asking you. It's you yourself that's put that on the list because you think it's a really good idea. And yeah, it might be a really good idea, but not everything can be put into action because you're only one person. And that's a sure way to lead yourself to burnout.
Yes, 100%. So my trick is if I feel myself spiraling with like a billion things in my head, I get a big piece of paper and I jot down every single little thing I am thinking, like right down to these silly little to-do lists where I'm like, I'm going to dust that corner shelf, or I'm going to make sure I've put up XYZ on the walls. But if you write it all down and you'd be like, oh my God, I've been holding on to 50 different things in my brain. Because honestly, I would say some women and men could write 50
Yeah.
50
easily.
items in their to-do list, but sometimes just writing it all down and then going, oh, I don't need to think about it now because I've got it backed up here. And then when you go back to it a day later, you can go, oh my God, don't need to do that, don't need to do that. Or you go through and go, those three are top priority. That's what I'm going to do this week. And it's just a reframing.
It is. It's kind of like a wish list. We've spoken about this before, having everything written down, and that's like what you wish to get done. And then you can choose your top priorities from there. Like Alicia said earlier, choose 2 or 3 things to make the priority for that particular day, and you'll start to get through it because you're not going to feel as overwhelmed.
Yes, you don't need to do everything. You're already an incredible teacher with what you're doing.
Absolutely. Well, our third tip is actually going to roll straight in, know when to drop the mic.
Boom.
Yeah. Rest is not a reward. It's a requirement, and you can't pour from an empty cup. And we were kind of leading into this just earlier, but it's really important as teachers that we prioritize rest because that's how you're going to be the very best version of yourself for those students in your classroom.
And I want to give a big clap. Now, we have a subscription list and we get lots of teachers who sign up with their teacher email, and we send emails on the weekend, because sometimes teachers have a bit of downtime, whatever it might be. And I want to clap all those teachers who have an automatic reply that say, this is outside my work hours. I will be responding to you when I am back at work on Monday. And well done to your teachers and to your administration to back you in having that sort of auto reply. It sets those healthy boundaries. So log off at a reasonable hour. Nothing is that urgent, I think, for a teacher that has to happen after 5 p.m. or having to be contacted. I don't think,
No,
unless you're on a school camp.
Or unless something drastic is happening with one of the students in your class. Other than that, really, I've worked with people that they've treated the newsletter like it is some sort of political communication that desperately needs to be ordered and sent out that hour. And I understand all of that, but it's really not that important, is it?
No, it's not. We think it's not. Just lighten up, my friends. Just take a chill pill.
Yeah, I mean, if the thing is not written for the newsletter, put it in next week.
No biggie.
Yeah.
Or God forbid, send an email out or put something on the parent portal
Yeah.
of like, oops, we're human. We're not AI. We forgot something. So yeah, logging off at a reasonable hour. Look, make time to do things that fill your cup. If you love that sport, walking, reading, crafting, hanging with friends, loving on your dog, whatever it is, do it. Life's too short. Life is so short.
Do more of it. Alicia has been really kind of mentoring me this year on this exact topic, like dropping the mic when it comes to Rainbow Sky and spending more time on things that I really enjoy outside of work. And she's like, you should do it. You should do it. And I'm like, oh, God, she's bossy. But I have been. And I feel so amazing for it. I've been doing lots of reading and I absolutely love it. And it's because of Alicia.
Oh, thanks, babes. Well, I tell you that because I'm trying to practice what I preach. So accountability partners, like anything we're talking about today. And if you are finding it hard to do it on your own, that's me. I can find these sorts of things hard when I'm trying to make a shift. But if I bring an accountability partner, so someone in my glam squad to have my back and just to check in, it makes it so much more achievable. If it's another teacher in your school and you are finding that things are just a bit heavy, team up together and start to support each other, and go, hey, let's make this pact that we're leaving at 4 p.m. on a Wednesday and we're going to go take that walk down the beach, whether it's raining, whether it's sunshine, and say no to those things that drain your joy. Oof.
Yeah. You don't have to do everything. You don't have to be a part of all of the committees that they ask you to do. We actually spoke to Principal Lamb a couple of episodes ago, and that's one of the big things that he says. He's not into doing PLCs, professional learning communities, where teachers are forced to sign up and do extra meetings. He's really into teachers going out and just working and doing the work that they need to do in order to leave and get that rest. And I think that that is so important because rest isn't lazy. Rest
No.
protects your energy.
Yes. And I would like to say that I feel the new generation of teachers coming through are getting sent a much better message about rest, about finding those things that bring you joy, that you as a teacher is not your whole identity. I think how we experienced it back, 15, 20 years ago, it wasn't quite like that. And I can see this shift with the discussions in social media, the discussions amongst women, amongst men. So follow that train, that flow of being like, I am more than just a teacher. There are other things I love to do. I'm doing like these little wave hands.
Yeah, we can't see them, but she's doing these wave hands, so you get the idea. I worked with these two teachers. They're a little bit older than me. And one thing that they would do, which I absolutely loved, they loved to talk, these ladies. Like that was their thing. They loved a good chat. So they would find out when they weren't doing lunchtime duty on the same days. And those days, as soon as the bell went for lunch, they would go for a big walk around our local area and just come back to school. And just the other day, I was up close by to my old school and I saw them walking.
They're
and
still
they're
there.
chatting, they're still doing it. And I was like, good for you, ladies, because they would come back re-energized. They got out, they had the fresh air, they had some movement. They got to do what they wanted, which was just catch up with each other. You don't have to do things the normal way, which is what I'm trying to say. Write your own rules.
I love it. I feel like that could be a whole podcast in itself, Ash.
It sure could.
Number 4, set boundaries like a headliner. So, like we said, protect your time so you can protect your passion. Even Beyonce has a backstage pass. And guess what? Not everyone gets in. Those boundaries there are to make life smoother for you. It's not to stop people coming in. It's to build those bridges so it's easy flow and entry for those who you want to be part of whatever world you're creating, really.
Yeah. Healthy boundaries, they're not easy to create at the beginning. Like it can feel, especially for teachers, because we always want to do the right thing. It can feel a little bit like you're being pulled, but it's really important to protect your energy and avoid burnout. And you can do this by setting those boundaries. So some different ways you could do this. Choose a pack up time and stick to it. This is something I was terrible at in my first couple of years of teaching. And I got much, much better as I went on. You can say no. Say no kindly and clearly to extras that aren't aligned with your goals. Like it's okay not to do the extra thing. I always like to say to younger teachers, sometimes it's fun to get involved in those extra things, but maybe choose one thing that is really in your wheelhouse and say yes to that and everything else is a no. So you might love debating. Great. You will volunteer and help the debating team. You'll do all of that goes along with that. Or you might enjoy the performing arts. So you help with the school dance group. Or music. Oh, I'm thinking of all creative things, aren't I? It might be sport for you. It might be a sport thing. Or chess. You might love chess or coding. You run a coding club. Great. But just choose one. You can't choose them all.
And also just honor your energy. Like you might find you're in a bit of a flow energy and in term 1, whatever it might be, you're all gung ho and you're really in it and you're like, oh, we'll support that sport. But maybe you're like term 2, you're like, hey, I actually need to take a break. You don't need to elaborate. You can choose to. And it might be, I'll pick it up in term 3, And I think sometimes having that kind of ebb and flow, but also having that community, and I think a lot of this comes from above and teachers who love where they work, of like knowing that I'll step in and I've got your back. Or maybe it's that 2 people are working on the fundraising committee or communicating with the PNC, whatever it might be. So having that glam squad is actually also that element of 2 of kind of backing each other up and not being these silos and doing it all on your own.
Yeah, Alicia and I, we used to swap. We don't do it so much anymore, but we used to swap jobs. So if we didn't like doing something, I would do it for a little bit and then I'd handball it to Alicia and she would do it for a little bit, then she would handball it back and we could bring our new energy to it. So if this is something that your school like isn't really that keen on, try and find a friend that you can do that and say, okay, so I'll do the sport term 1 and then you do it term 2 and you can just switch it up.
The same with planning. It'd be like, oh, I love doing the maths planning, but you kind of do that for 2 terms. You're like, I want to do something else. That's me. I'm like, can you let me, I'm going to do the reading planning. So you might swap it with your grade partner and take turns, or you do HAS one semester, they do science the other semester, whatever it might be. So yeah.
You know, another boundary, which you've already spoken about, but it's worth mentioning again, email boundaries.
Mm.
So only checking them a couple of times a day, not always having them open, and responding only inside school hours or like within your working hours. We know you're not going to be responding while you're teaching with the kids, but like it might be like an 8 a.m. to a 4 p.m. thing.
And look, you could even like extend this out to technology boundaries, right? I know when life gets overwhelming and when I was in the classroom, I would find external things just would really set me off and spiral me into like a mild panic attack. And sometimes the easiest thing for me is to put my phone into jail and just be like, I am not checking my phone. I do this now, actually. I usually wake up, whatever time it might be, and I won't check my phone until maybe I'm sitting down, I've had my breakfast, I'm sitting down for my coffee 2 hours later. Or it might be I've dropped the kids off and then I sit down at my desk at 9 o'clock and that's when I'm looking at my phone. So it might just be something like that when you wrap up school at the end of the day and you go, what, I'm just going to have an hour to myself. Nobody can contact me.
One of my closest girlfriends, she actually, at first, this actually annoyed me because she had kids much earlier than I, and she would never write back to a text message during the day, ever, like never. But what she did, I realized her pattern as I went on, and now it doesn't annoy me at all. I think it's actually brilliant, is that she sits down at a particular time each day and she writes back to all of her text messages. And what clued me onto this was that if I sent her a message and then would be in a group message, we'd all of a sudden, we'd get replies. Like they just would come in from this girl, like all the replies to all of the things. And that's how she protected her boundaries. So she's not tied to her phone all day. She wrote back to all of her text messages and it's usually about 8:30 at night. So when my phone pings at 8:30 at night, I think, oh, I'm getting a message back from her. And now I don't expect it because I think that's the other thing. When we
Yeah.
do things constantly, then it becomes an expectation. I don't expect a message back from her until later that night. And I know if she doesn't get back to me later that night, she may have forgotten and I'll have to re-message her, you know? So I think that setting those boundaries for what works for you is a great idea.
Absolutely. And how others choose to react to the boundaries you set is not on you.
No,
That's
it's
for
their
them.
problem.
That's for them to work through. So
Yes.
maybe you just want to give a try on like what boundary you want to kind of hold fast for you that is good for you and your family and your class or whatever it might be. Oh, boundaries. Obviously, we can talk about that for a while.
We sure could. I think we all need work with boundaries in our lives, no matter
Yeah.
where we're at, but teachers, you especially.
Absolutely. We've got one more, Ash. What is it?
Yep. Play to your strengths and outsource the rest. We don't see Taylor Swift selling the tickets for her show. We
No,
don't see
or-
Taylor Swift organizing the lighting. She's up there and she's the main act. And
Mhm.
that is the same for us as teachers. Performers don't do everything. They shine in their zone of genius. And yes, we might not have as much flexibility as Taylor, but we can help ourselves when it comes to playing to our strengths. So what are some examples of doing this?
Oh, look, I think of my last grade partner, and I touched on this in the last point, but I loved math. She loved writing. So she would do the writing plans, and I'd be like, okay, if it's going to do anything literacy, I'll do reading. But she would do writing for the whole year and do all the plans, and it worked great. And I would do the maths programs and would bounce ideas off each other on that one. So if you've got a team within your grade, don't take on the load when it comes to lesson planning, especially in primary school teaching and elementary school teaching. You have so many subjects to cover. So use the people around you.
Yes. One thing that a partner of mine that I used to teach with, we shared a class, she had a child that was really advanced with their spelling. And so instead of trying to differentiate and come up with another list for this child, because it was back in the day when we sent home lists, I'm sure teachers still do that now, but it's not as common. She would send up, we would talk grade 2. She would send up to grade 4. They would just photocopy an extra list, send it down, and that child would use that list. Now, it was no extra work besides sending someone to collect the list, which became a routine. The Year 4 teacher was already doing that, and then she didn't need to go and recreate it. And I've seen teachers do this so many times for different things.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it comes down to using the community and collaborating with others where you don't excel, right? Like I feel like there's someone like at our old school, someone would always do like a monthly morning tea. And there was just someone who was just great at the event planning and they loved doing it because they're like, if I wasn't doing this, I'd be an event planner. That's a clue. They love doing it. You
Yeah.
utilize their strengths, but obviously have their back, help them with it so they're not going to burn out and want to never do it again. it's those sorts of things where you might be needing to organize a fundraiser or something, or you have an assembly item idea and you're just not that super creative, but you could maybe utilize the expertise of the art teacher or the music teacher. So maybe just sit down and have a chat and go, hey, I'm really stumped on an idea. I'm doing these subjects. Could you help me with an assembly item idea? And they'll probably be like, oh my gosh, thanks so much for asking me. Yeah, I've got a spare 15 minutes. Let's nut it out. Go have a conversation. Don't be fearful of asking for help. I'm talking to myself here.
Yeah, don't be fearful, but also you can use as a little bartering system too. Like if the art teacher is going to help organize your assembly, maybe you say to her, look, I know this is going to take a bit of extra time. I'll do your yard duty for the next 3 days because I really do value your time and I appreciate it. They're going to feel valued. You're going to feel like you're giving back. I just think there's really great ways to share the load as teachers across the school, not just with the teacher that's next door.
One way I used to, because I worked at a few schools, was whenever reporting time came around, I was like, so how do you guys do reports? How do you like to write it? And teachers were usually always quite forthcoming at sharing their comments or their bank of comments. And I know we live in the world of AI now, but sometimes just knowing what the standard is or expectation for a certain school and sharing it is just really helpful. Gosh, just love being, I feel like the more, if someone asks and you help them out, karma, babes, it's going to come back. I scratch your back, you scratch mine.
Exactly. And teaching is a team effort. You can't do it on your own, which comes back all the way to the beginning of our episode when we said, you've got this. It's not a one-woman show. It's a time to get your help, to get those backup dancers in, to get that glam squad in. So that takes us all the way up to the very beginning. Teaching shouldn't be a one-woman or a one-man show. Get that help in. Get that team behind you, the glam squad, the backup dancers. Play to your strengths. There's so many different things that we can start doing to work differently, and take this podcast episode as your permission slip to do that.
Yeah, permission slip to start working differently, to share the load, protect your energy, and look, lead with your heart. Find that passion of what fuels you and what is your super strength and work to it. You've got this.
You have got this. So let's just revisit our 5 strategies to help you reduce teacher overwhelm and share that stage.
Build your glam squad. Stop performing to the to-do list. Know when to drop the mic. Set boundaries like a headliner. And play to your strengths and outsource the rest.
Exactly. Because you are the Beyonce, the Taylor, the Lady Gaga of your classroom. And we want to see that energy shine through. Because teaching should feel inspiring, not exhausting.
Got that, girlfriend.
All right. Well, I think we've ended on such a high note.
There are rainbows ahead, my friend.
And together we're unstoppable.